Transferable skills.
From Cackle Media, this is Transferable Skills. I'm Noah Mishkin. Today's guest is CJ McLaughlin, who shares his skills journey from mechanical engineer into NASCAR driver. I hope you enjoy. CJ McLaughlin, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Noah.
I saw our mutual alma mater, Wentworth Institute of Technology, where we both went to school, had posted a profile about you and the update within your career. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I wore my Formula One watch for this conversation. Different brand, different sport, but in the same genre, let's call it.
Right. Going around in circles.
Going around in circles. I saw a video that was posted recently, I think it was by your team. Give me some advice. Go fast and turn left.
Exactly. That's what we get paid money to do.
I've really enjoyed the last number of weeks of diving into your career and reminding myself of a subject that I don't get to experience as often as now I realize I want to.
I appreciate that, greatly. I always say to people, if they're not an NASCAR fan, I'm like, hey, spend a lot of time in Boston. You ever watch the Red Sox? I'm like, yeah, I'll go to a game, right? And you'll go to a game because the energy is different there than watching on TV. So I try to do the same thing with NASCAR. Like, have you ever been to a race? And they come, they have a great time. They're like, oh, I'm a NASCAR fan now. It just takes that first initial come to a race, get the taste, smell the fuel in the air and the burnt rubber in the air too.
It really makes a difference. I mean, the one sensory trigger that science has said unlocks memory is smell.
For sure.
And going to a live event has a completely different experience. And sometimes it's even worse. I'll give you one example. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I believe in 2025 and maybe beyond, going to an NFL game, not as fun as watching it on TV, in my opinion. Tickets are super expensive. It's usually very cold. Your seats are pretty awful to see most of the game, and everything's expensive. If I'm at home, I can sit on my couch, eat my food. I've got my bathroom. I've got all my friends, and it's essentially free. But that's not the case with a lot of other sports. I think baseball is like that. Like you said, the Red Sox, going to a game, it's different. It just hits differently. And I have been to NASCAR races, and it is different. The sights, the sounds, the smell, it is a completely unique experience.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, the sounds, hearing 40 cars roll by going 200 miles an hour is whoa.
Yeah. It gives you another level of appreciation. Many people are guilty, those who have not been in person are guilty of not really relating to the speed, because when you see it on TV, it looks a lot slower than it actually is, even if you can see the speed.
Right.
There's a disconnect. When you see them whiz by and you hear that zip, I think you appreciate it to a whole nother level. I think the drivers even more so get more respect and appreciation once they realize, oh man, there's somebody in that cockpit.
So there's a company called NASCAR Racing Experience that does ride-alongs to the track. So if my sponsors are lucky enough to be there, I bring them on a ride-along and we get to go around the track, and I try to bring them right up to the wall to experience hey, we're driving a car at 160 miles an hour, 2 inches away from the wall,
Yeah.
And give them they'll never have before.
I've been in those construction zones, on the highway, where you're you feel very close to that concrete barrier, but you're really not. You're 4, 5, 6 feet away from it. You're not inches away, and it still feels nerve-wracking traveling at a construction zone. Everyone's following the speed limit, obviously.
Right.
What are you doing? 40 in the speed zone, in the construction zone. So I can't imagine going 160 that close. It probably changes somebody's perspective for life.
Oh, for sure. And then hopefully they want to sponsor me for races.
That's a plug. If you're looking to sponsor, reach out to CJ's team. Great opportunities are right around the corner, right around the next turn.
Oh, I should use that in my next promotional video.
Now we're going to back up. You went to Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston. I know you grew up in Framingham in Massachusetts.
Yep. Metro West area, Bellingham, Framingham.
You went to Wentworth. Talk about your area of concentration, your study.
Mechanical engineering technology was a precursor to just mechanical engineering. There was a couple of math classes that differed, but I just loved the hands-on aspect of it. My freshman year, we were in the shop a good amount of time. I had great welding classes. I took a little 2-year hiatus, and then I got a welding job. And I was like, oh, I know how to weld because I learned in my college. And then I was like, man, going home and blowing my nose out and just being black, this kind of sucks. After that, and not getting some jobs because they're oh, you need a degree. And then I went back and pursued that 4-year bachelor's of mechanical engineering technology degree.
I have a lot of feelings on everything that you just said, because it's so frustrating when you know you can do a job, but you don't have necessarily the credentials that they believe you need to have, or at least are expecting to get that job. It's really frustrating.
It's also a double-edged sword though too, because like I know I did mature while I was at college. I changed a ton from my freshman year to my senior year. There were tools that I gained at Wentworth, like industrial organization, like learning how people interact in the workplace, learning why people do things that they do, trying to save face, right? Not trying to be embarrassed, not trying to go, they're going to work and not trying to get fired.
Yeah.
Not trying to go to work and do the job, just not trying to get fired. You know,
Yeah.
like that's some people's mindsets.
You mentioned the cost of higher education. You mentioned 4 years. There's a time commitment there.
Yep.
And there's also the practical hands-on experience. There's also apprenticeship and there's trade schools. And I think we're at a flex point right now where the cost of higher education with the maybe expectation on ROI, like what am I going to earn afterwards and how long it's going to maybe take to pay off my debt and what am I looking to do? And do I really need that to do this? I can't say yes or no because it's going to be an individual choice. But in some of the things, like for instance, welding, mechanical engineering, the question is, do I need 4 years or can 2 years get me to the point where I can apprentice?
I think the idea of internships have morphed. There's no more apprenticeships. There's just internships that you go out and get coffee and it's like, they're not learning. But also like, that's why Wentworth's program is cool because we have the co-op, still learning, still doing. I wish more companies had co-ops to just normal kids out of high school or something.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned that because I was about to mention the co-op at Wentworth.
Right.
It is literally one of the reasons I chose that school because I was looking for a 5.5 year undergrad in architecture. But I also like that it was practical application that you had to satisfy a semester at least or 2 semesters of co-op.
Yep.
I think it was 2 semesters of co-op. And you're getting actual practical hands-on experience in whatever field you're studying before you graduate. The other thing that they advertised back then and might still be true is that all the professors in the individual schools also practice to some degree whatever they're teaching.
Right.
The point of all that is to say that one of the main attractor for me to Wentworth was it was a very comprehensive program that had a breadth of experience, knowledge, and training that I felt very confident in. And it was a great experience for me personally. And I hope it was for you.
Oh, definitely. Like I love the too. It's like the people that I was with, they were from like the same like socioeconomic upbringing that I had. We all liked working with our hands. I went to Wentworth because like my semi end goal was like, I'll work as an engineer on a NASCAR team.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to do that either. Like, I just want to hold the steering wheel. Like,
Yeah.
all I want to do. I don't want to turn a wrench. It's funny. I turn wrenches now. Like, you always want what you can't have, right? Like, hold a steering wheel. Oh, no, I want to turn a wrench. Turn a wrench. Want to be the steering wheel holder.
And we're going to talk about turning the wrench even when you're behind the wheel, understanding components in order to be able to give feedback and to be able to understand performance or diagnostics when you're the only one able to physically represent that diagnostics team in real time.
Yeah.
I will never be a NASCAR driver for many reasons, including and certainly not limited to my eyesight. Like I've got perfect vision after LASIK, but it doesn't matter. There's probably something about the way my eyes work and my brain processes that I'm just not going to be able to respond fast enough to the needs of a car.
So my eyesight's pretty good. I spent some time at this company called PitFit. They're a gym for racers. They use what's called a Synaptech screen. So like you'll hold a tablet in front of you and look up and look down at the tablet. You'll have to read numbers in certain orientations and look back up. And so we found out like that my vision, like your eyes focus like this. And then when they come in, they go in towards you. So we trained that a little bit because like my eyes weren't as good as that. Like reading like a number off the dash, right? Reading a water temp, or oil pressure, and then bring it back to refocus on the road ahead. Just could use it permanent. So I was glad that I went to that place to figure out, okay, I can improve here.
That's cool. I didn't know that you could do that. And now I'm reminded of a friend of mine. Shout out to Dr. Rafi Wald, who's from Newton, so not far from your hometown. He has had various positions, including clinical, but a few other sports leagues and divisions that help them on the scouting from a neuropsych standpoint, the ability to evaluate things that are not just behavioral, but cognitive and neurological and reaction time and speed and processing and all that stuff. Super cool. When you're 10 years old, you don't think about these things. After Wentworth, where did you go?
I went to a company it was called Conformist. They did 3D printed knees. I thought the technology was cool. I had it in there. Like they helped me get an interview. And dude, I'll tell you, I was probably their worst employee. I figured out like I could just walk around and no one would say anything to me. So I like do half my job, walk around for a couple hours, and like I think I lasted 3 weeks there. And then I got another job I was an MIT based startup. That was more fit me a little better. It was a team of 6 people. Like I felt like I was actually moving the ball forward with things like I ended up like having 3 different titles. Like I was procurement, like sales engineer, like mechanical engineer, like I was on site. That was like a company that did non-destructive testing on oil and gas pipelines. So that was a cool segue. So my next company that ended up sponsoring me was SciAps. They were using handheld instruments to measure the chemical makeup of those pipelines. So like just jumping from one company to another in the course of like 10 years. It's pretty cool.
With your mechanical engineering background.
Yeah. They like fall back on and be like, oh yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Carbon analysis, I know that. Metal, yield strength. Okay.
When someone says they're an engineer, my next question was, okay, what type? One thing I actually love about mechanical, it's sort of like plumbing to me. I'm able to understand mechanics better than things like electrical engineering.
Yes. Yeah.
That's more math, and the thermodynamics are very different than fluid dynamics. They're very different than torque, as an example.
Right.
I can fix a toilet easier than I can fix a light switch that isn't working.
Right.
How often are you in a situation in mechanical engineering where you think you know what you're talking about, but you've got to do some research and figure it out? What are the steps to understanding areas that are new to you?
Yeah, not so much anymore. Like my day job is like sales and marketing, like marketing these companies that work with me. In terms of like being in a race car, the crew chief and team have everything set up for me where like I'm telling them what I'm feeling in the car and they're adjusting tire pressure, ride height, and different things of that nature. There's a huge amount of aerodynamics that go into racing and stuff that like way beyond me and my mental capacity, because we're always looking for downforce and horsepower. Those are the 2 biggest things in NASCAR. In terms of like engineering, I just installed a show car in the 50th floor of Main Street Auto's corporate headquarters. And I created a free body diagram to give to the engineer that we hired. And he was like, dude, you might as well draw this on a napkin. What are you doing? I thought I had all the math right. And we differed on our opinions.
I have a really big question for you.
Hit me.
Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder, but there's a British for Talladega Nights.
I feel the exact same way. Days of Thunder, one of my first true loves.
So like
I was already a Top Gun fan.
It's so funny you say Top Gun, because I love Top Gun and Days of Thunder. And there was a point where I was thinking about like enlisting in the like armed forces, and it's like, do I go become a fighter pilot? Like I think I have the reaction times for it. I still get lit up when I see the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
like they are the coolest thing ever.
Me too.
Like I went to an air show last year and I was like, yeah, this is the best, you know.
You're like a little kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like things that go loud, go fast, and definitely are engineer marbles. That's the one thing I'm scared of. I could go 300 miles an hour heights. Yeah. You know, like, but I felt like Top Gun, like I could be a fighter pilot because I don't want to be a for a ride. And same thing in the car. I don't want to go for a ride. I'll be the driver.
Right.
Like, who gets the least credit is the guy like Goose. He's in the back. He's along for the ride. Maverick.
Yeah, he's the Rio.
Yeah.
Radar intercept officer. You're shot down without that guy.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. He also made the ultimate sacrifice. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. God love you. Days of Thunder is Top Gun. It's just on in race cars.
Exactly.
It's the exact same movie. Tell me about the moment transitioning from full-time mechanical engineering and making that decision to saying, I really have to pursue this. I want to become a driver in NASCAR. I know you grew up in this world. How did you make that decision?
I think it was just like a long-term pursuit, and like the pieces fell in place. The whole story is I met this company at a conference. I signed up for their email letter because I was really interested in their technology. And then a week later, they announced they were sponsoring a race car. And I was like, I was just talking to these guys. I was just talking to them. And I've been looking for a sponsor. And they're from Boston. I'm from Boston. And I've been looking for a sponsor for like 10 years. And I emailed them like, hey, like, we just met. You guys are sponsoring this car out there. Would you guys ever want to sponsor me in an event? And they're just like, yeah, sure. And I never heard that before. It's always like, no, not interested. It's too expensive. They were just like, yeah, we're down. Let's play.
Why do you think they said yes?
The CEO is very adventurous. The CEO like loved the risk, loved the idea, felt well with the market demographic. wanted to do something different. This was his second startup. There's a whole bunch of different reasons, but mostly felt right with the demographic. It's like, it was like my lucky break. I was, like when he said yes, I was like, "Wait, really?" It took me a second there to be like,
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah. That's wild.
So my senior year at Wentworth, I was like punting my degree, right? I was full blown C's and D's, got degrees. If I just show up for class every once in a while, they're not going to fail me. And so I would spend like my off hours between classes just like cold calling companies, right? Like every Boston-based company, Market Basket, Bose, Cumberland Farms, every company I could think of, just to be like, "Hey, I'm the local kid. I'm trying to make it big. What would you guys be interested in?" And like collected 1,000 no's, got that one yes.
Did people respond and say no, or did they just ignore you?
A lot of ignores, more like 75% ignore, 10% no's. And there's some math there that doesn't add up, but yeah, a lot of no's.
How did you not get burned down, lose faith?
I did for like a while. Like that's like when I got like my second job, like, all right, like I gotta pay the bills. I had Cumberland Farms on for a race in New Hampshire. There's an approval process you have to go through with NASCAR. I kind of jumped some steps because like I didn't have the funds to race at the lower level. I just didn't have the funds available to go racing there.
In that middle ground, is that where you're essentially starting to get noticed, and then they at least have data and history where they can look at it and analyze and then say yay or nay?
Yes.
And so you're missing that, essentially, that exposure.
Yes, exactly. Basically somewhere between college baseball and high school baseball, like that, like precursor there. And like I just didn't have the funds. Like my dad, the truck driver, and like, I had all my money going to college at the time. So like I kind of, the funds are just incomplete. But we figured it out. We reverse engineered it, saved some money, took out like another student loan to pay for that intermediate fund, and got it going from there.
I guess persistence pays off.
Oh yeah. It's so funny too. Like I was listening to a podcast with Adam Sandler, and he was talking about how like his first 3 years of stand-up comedy, he bombed. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I sucked." I mean that, but like he was like, I would go home and tell myself like, "Oh my God, it's so great. Like I was so great at that." And then like looking back on it, he's like, "Yeah, I sucked." But like he just told himself like in their monologue. So
yeah, I struggle with wondering, when you go home and tell yourself that it's going well when it wasn't, is that good? Because otherwise you burn out and you need that self-reassurance in order to keep going?
Yeah.
Or is it delusion and denial?
I think, well, so like, okay, I was just having this conversation. If it's positive delusion, whatever. It's your own life, it's your own script, so listen to it.
Yeah.
I suck, whatever. If I tell myself I'm the best and then add the caveat, like keep working on it, do better, then what's the downside?
We got to be your own cheerleader. You're number one. You got to look out for yourself and you got to believe in yourself. And even if it's not going well, you got to keep pushing. If you believe that you do have what it takes to get to wherever you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, the perspective of somebody being on a talk show, like the Tonight Show or something. It's wow, overnight sensation, overnight success. And I guarantee you that almost no one is an overnight success. It seems like it because we never heard of you before last week, but whatever you're doing that you're now famous for, you probably have been working towards and laddering up for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was interesting with my dad, like the relationship with my dad. Like he told me my whole racing career. So I raced with my dad when I was 10 years old to like 17. And like, you're going to go pro, kid. You're going to go pro. Someone will find you. There's no one out there looking for the next Jeff Gordon. Like that doesn't happen. So it's like,
right,
you have to figure out the pathway into NASCAR and the pathway forward too. But no fault to him. Like that's what he knew.
But he's also your dad. His job is to believe in you.
Right. For sure. When I made my first race, I said something to like that. I was like, why'd you spend a lot of money on racing? And he was like, "Oh, no one believed in me, so I believed in you." I still like kind of tear up right now, like thinking about that,
That's awesome. Nobody believed in me, so I'm believing in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's every parent's responsibility. What are the takeaways and learnings from my life that I can then inform you and help you be a better version of me? That's great support. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
We all want to be that.
Oh, yeah.
In some way.
Like all the money. He's like, we had no money growing up. Like he sucked every time he had into like racing. And it's, like maybe if I was managing that a little better, like we could have done bigger events to get noticed. But like he did what he knew. He knew that was a local short track and that's what we could afford to race in.
He's doing better than most people.
Yeah.
Even to get to that point, you're still in a minority.
No, for sure. It is wild to think about that too. Like even right now, my financial status, like it's very hard for me to get a truck trailer and a car. Like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like I don't have a garage to work out of.
Yeah.
It's going to go take out running a garage. If my daughter is only 2, wants to go racing next year, that's a head scratcher for me. You know, like, okay, how do I put that all together for?
Yeah.
So,
But you can also take your learnings and your experience, just as your dad did, and you even more so now, and apply them to your daughter, your children. You know what it takes, and you know what you are maybe lacking or things that could have been done differently. It's up to you to decide, okay, how do I plan for maybe the inevitable?
right. Right. No, it's, she's,
The next Danica Patrick.
she definitely, she sits on my simulator with me. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
I know.
Is your racing sim any more advanced than consumer grade?
No, I would say a high consumer grade though. I have like a
Yeah.
fairly fancy steering wheel, fairly fancy pedals, fairly fancy curve monitor, but everything that you can buy off the store and out of the box, and like the iRacing platform is like available to everyone. And the iRacing platform for software is like fantastic. The laser scan all the tracks, like the bumps you will feel on the steering wheel. So that is very accurate to what actually happens in the car.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the skills. Mechanical engineering background.
Yep.
Now you're behind the driver's steering wheel. You're in the driver's seat. What kind of skills help you, enable you to be better at your job because of your background as a mechanical engineer?
You're going to hate me for this? None. None.
Okay, I want to hear your answer, but I'm also going to push back. Go for it.
Okay. It's just a feeling in your butt. Like you feeling the car rotate underneath you. So like the way I explain it is the closest sensation a normal driver can get to racing is you take an off ramp as fast as you can possibly go. You don't touch your brake. You know,
Yeah.
that sensation of when your front tires are losing grip and they're starting to chatter, that's that sensation we're looking for. Adversely, that's a passenger car. In a race car, they're made to turn. So when you start to turn a little bit and then the car starts to over rotate and starts to take off on you, you have to counter steer and come back towards it and kind of guide the car. Oh, not like you're drifting, but a similar situation because they're made to turn.
Oversteering.
Correct. And then the understeering is the chatter up the track. So having that sensation of feeling and knowing how to communicate that to the team, like, hey, the car is doing this, and then being repeatable as a driver, right? So knowing that I hit my marks, I did the same way every time, and we're getting the same outcome versus, oh, I think I'm doing this, and the car is doing this.
Your description of it's the feel, not necessarily your mechanical engineering background. Is that CJ or is that Kyle Busch? Is that you? Or is that pretty much most drivers are relying on feel versus maybe mechanical education and knowledge?
Most drivers are feel. There's only one other driver that has a mechanical engineering degree, that's Ryan Newman. And I think that's just being interested in how things work, not necessarily what's actually happening within the car as you're driving it. Like the car is responding with all the inputs as the driver's inputting, with all the springs and shocks that are going on within the car. I can't think about how much the car is traveling. The crew can check that and know how much pressure is in each tire. But I'm thinking about what the car is actually doing, what the outputs, what the inputs are to the outputs are happening.
When you're experiencing the feel and response, is there any math behind that you're calculating? Like, as you described, taking the off ramp pretty quickly, most people, if they even know how to actually drive that effectively, they're not even going to be thinking about physics, really. It's just instincts, right?
Yeah. So you're feeling how much grip you have in the front tires and the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And then you're feeling with your butt how much rear tire grip you have. And hopefully you get a good feeling in your butt.
But does your knowledge and I know automotive engineering is even a subcategory of mechanical engineering, because it's not just engineering. Now we want to talk about the specific application here in cars. Are you able to then just take your feel and say, at least I know roughly what this is attributed to?
Yeah, to a degree.
Or are you literally saying to your team the same thing that my neighbor does when they go into the mechanic and saying, it's making this noise?
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, hey guys, I have a feeling like it's bottoming out. And then I use my hands. Oh, I'm doing this in the corner, and then it's doing this in the corner, and then I'm pointing up in the corner. And then sometimes it can just be as stupid as the car doesn't feel like it's in the track.
You got the mechanics who are like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but we understand what he's trying to say.
Right. Well, and they're too, like, I wish I had a steering wheel around, just looking for one. It's like I put this much wheel into it and it does this, but if I put this much wheel into it, it's chattering up the track, trying to diagnose.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you giving real-time feedback over the radio, or are you waiting until you're done with that lap or something?
A little bit. Sometimes you gotta catch your breath. Like Bristol, it's a 15-second lap time. It took me 2 minutes to come in pit road and, hey, tell me how the car is doing. And I'm like, give me a second. just need to catch from. I was just holding my breath for 4 minutes, as I'm doing 10 laps.
Give me a second is probably like a pit crew's worst nightmare to hear. Give me a second. We don't have a second.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, right. Like the practice sessions, and like that's a detriment of NASCAR right now with the short practice sessions, but that's a discussion for another day.
There was a Gary Vaynerchuk video that you had mentioned earlier when we were talking in a previous conversation. Describe what the message was that Gary V was mentioning there.
So he gave a talk at University of Southern California, basically saying like, go all in on like your best attributes they have. If you're good at math, good at engineering, or good at sales, right? I discovered I'm not the best engineer. All I want to do is become a NASCAR driver, like my whole life. Just go all in on this. The worst that can happen is like, maybe I waste 5 to 10 years and I still have like my whole life ahead of me. I would listen to that talk all the time, right? I would just YouTube, queued up. And it was like my Rocky background music, get me all pumped up for week after week.
It's about the message, reminding yourself that ignore everything else, focus on the things that bring you joy or where your skills are.
Yeah. As engineering, in school too, like you're going to pick the projects that you want to work on. And then when you find a company that's like willing to take you on, it may not be your dream job right away. And that's like difficult too, of like swallowing that pill of like, okay, I'm working at this company. Like I love and hate the mantra of like a job like pays you a salary to like forget about your dreams.
I know. It's such a sad truth.
It's tough. It's tough either way. I wish I took a good job, but like I'm living out my dreams.
You're doing it. You're living that message. And I love that. Let me ask you a couple questions before we hang up here. All right. This is a question I like to ask people. Given your natural strengths and maybe learned skills, what is a job that you believe you would excel at? You would be really good at, but you're also exceedingly overqualified for?
Car salesman.
That was fast and an awesome answer.
I wish I could like go sell stuff on Wall Street. I feel like I could make some money at that, but I definitely not overqualified for that yet. Still learning.
Yeah, but is that because you want to earn a lot of money?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the spirit of the question. Because ultimately, you will likely earn a meaningful income. Meaningful. You'll do okay. Yeah. You'll do well if you're doing what brings you joy. Yeah. And so some of those things, the purpose of that question is because usually I like to ask people this, not when we're being interviewed, but in like just casual conversations. Give me 2 or 3, because ultimately the purpose of this is I came up with this question like 7-8 years ago, and I would float around in conversations because there are through lines and you can start to see, okay, what are the commonalities between these 2 or 3 jobs that you mentioned? And why do they bring you joy? And what can we tease out to see how they can actually be applied into the job you currently have or the one that you actually truly want? That's why I said overqualified. I don't think that you're going to quit your job in any capacity to go sell cars. I could see it being something that you do sort of leveraging your brand in the future.
I think a job I've always wanted to do is like just having a wakeboarding boat and like teach wakeboarding lessons. That'd be just a lot of fun. I'm sorry, now I'm getting into overqualified. It had nothing to do with anything. I'm just like, that'd be a lot of fun.
Right, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you are even overqualified for that or not, maybe that's like your retirement job, or maybe that's what you do during the summers. You find a way to balance the things that are practical with the things that bring you joy.
On the note of the Uber driver, overqualified.
I am overqualified, and so are you. That would be awesome, by the way. You should add that to your list.
So me and my videographer were like talking about like funny like skits to do. And imagine me showing up in a race car and being like, I'm Uber. Let's go.
It'd be ridiculous.
And then like turning back, like the classic, like they have a meme about this, like this isn't this is my full-time job, like that'd be so funny.
But that smells like an incredible ad spot. If you partner with the right brand who's going to sponsor that commercial, that would be a ridiculous commercial.
We had another idea. How like Domino's like guarantees delivery in under 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Like
that's a perfect partnership.
Our video would be like me training the guy on his first day, right? Like, all right, man, like dude, we got 12 minutes to get there and it's 15 minutes away. Let's go.
That's awesome. I like that. Keep thinking of those. Those are great. You can start keeping a list of opportunities to essentially sell your brand, to partner with the right organizations, the companies, because you have something unique. You have an experience and a skill set and a personality that I think would lend very well to brand partnerships.
Thanks for having me on, man.
CJ, thank you so much for being here. It's been awesome having you on.
Thanks so much.
I want to thank CJ McLaughlin for being today's guest on the show, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this episode of Transferable Skills. Remember, the skills you've gained can take you anywhere. Until next time, keep exploring those transferable skills.